Hello again, everybody. This is Luke, Park Ranger here with Oregon State Parks. I apologize. Every few minutes our internet seems to drop, and we're testing a new device up here, so I apologize again for that, but we're going to keep trying here. Spot some gray whales as they're heading north along our coastline here. So in the meantime, we're just kind of scanning around, looking at some of the other nice viewpoints from this part of the coast. Again, this is Gull Rock. Let me zoom out here and see if we've got any neat birds hanging out. Looks like a lot of gulls today. Sometimes we get a whole bunch of pelicans. Usually that'll be a little bit later in the season, more June, July-ish. But I saw a bald eagle sitting out there not too long ago. If we go over to the other side of it, a lot of times some seals, or some seals will like to haul out. Oh, there's a couple taking a nap out here on these rocks, or these little dots. We're looking about a mile away right now at those guys, so stay tuned. We're still looking for another whale to come through, and when we do, we will be sure to talk about it and what all of its relatives are doing this time of year. Hello again there, everybody. This is Luke, Park Ranger here with Oregon State Parks. So we are still on the watch for our next gray whale to come into our view here. They are apparently practicing some excellent social distancing right now. We haven't seen any, and we can see quite a few miles from up here right now. This time of year, they're starting to become more and more. I know last weekend up at the Depot Bay Whale Watching Center, I think it was on Sunday actually, so just 5 or 6 days ago, the volunteers who were up there, they spotted 29 gray whales in just the 6 hours that they were open. So a lot of whales were passing by us that day, and that's pretty typical. You know, some days we'll have kind of a bottleneck group of these animals as they're migrating through, and some days it's a little thinner. So it seems to be what we've started with so far today. I did just want to remind everybody, you know, we had the campground closure notice that was sent out yesterday, but we do want to remind people that all the day use areas, I should say most of the day use areas that are open this time of year are still open. And so wherever you live in the state of Oregon, if you live here, you are still able to go out and enjoy your beautiful day use areas. And we thank everybody for understanding. We are all, you know, a part of this health emergency, and your cooperation helps us keep our visitors and our rangers and staff and volunteers. It helps keep everybody safe. So thanks again for your understanding. So thanks again for joining us virtually. If you're just tuning in, we haven't spotted a whale on the camera yet. When I first got up here this morning, I did see one in pretty close, so we're waiting for the next one to come through. We're just kind of zooming around with the camera right now, taking a look at some of the views. I do see a whale watch boat that has come into view, and it's one of the boats that launches out of Depot Bay, and it's moving pretty quickly, and it's traveling a long way from Depot Bay. So maybe I'll go zoom in out there and see if we can't see what those folks are up to. So thanks again for joining us wherever you're from. And be sure to comment in that chat box where you are from. It's always a lot of fun to see where other people are joining us with. Let us know if you have any questions. I did see a return visitor, Matt. Thank you for being back. Hope you've had a good winter so far, and I hope you're enjoying the stream so far. What do you think of the new view? All right, everybody, we'll be back soon. Thanks. All right, everyone. So way out there in the center of your screen, this is one of the Whale Watch tour boats that launches out of Depot Bay. They are probably, I'm going to say 4, almost 5 miles away right now. And they have slowed down, so I don't know if they're just looking around like us, or maybe they did in fact spot something, but we'll kind of leave the camera zoomed in this general area right now, and hopefully we see some whales here pretty soon. Got a big commercial crab boat out here in front of us. These guys are always looking for Dungeness crab. They're one of the most highly sought after commercial species here along the Oregon coast. So you can actually see little orange dots floating out in the water here. Those are all the crab buoys. Those are kind of the top of their rope, and the ships will travel along in these lines, and they'll pick up all their crab pots and see and hope that they caught a few. So if you're just joining us, my name is Luke. I'm a park ranger with Oregon State Parks, and we are at a location called Cape Foulweather, Oregon. It's just north of the town of Newport and just a little bit south of Depot Bay, Oregon. That's where our main whale watching center is, but I thought we'd come up here today and test out some of our new streaming equipment and see if everybody enjoyed this view as well. We have not spotted any whales on the stream just yet. Sorry, we dropped the feed there for a second, but we look like we're back. But we've been kind of looking around. This is one of the whale watching boats that launches out of Depot Bay. They came out here and looked around, but I don't think they've spotted anything yet either. So kind of a quiet morning here for us, whale-wise. But we're going to keep looking, for another hour and a little bit. I think we're going to plan on streaming until noon or until our internet cuts out for good here. So it is just a beautiful day along the central Oregon coast right now. We've got clear skies. As you can tell, our ocean is extremely calm. Basically no waves at all. And so that should give us some good views of any whales in the area as they're passing through. So what we're looking for are gray whales. They're the most common whale species that we have here along the Oregon coast. And this time of year, we are at the beginning of the Northbound Migration. All right, let me move our camera here just a little bit. So we're at the beginning of this northbound migration. Now these gray whales have spent the last couple months down in Baja, Mexico, and they have been down there breeding and giving birth to their young, their new baby calves. And what we're watching right now is the first wave of gray whales heading back north to Alaska. And so all 20 to 25,000 whales were just down in Mexico, and now all of the males and all of the females that are newly pregnant are swimming north along the Oregon coast heading back to Alaska. And right now they're about halfway there. They still have a little bit over a month of swimming, basically non-stop, and then they will return to the very food-rich waters located up in northern Alaska. And that's where they're going to spend the summer feeding. And so in the summertime, where they're headed, it's daylight, 24 hours a day, and these gray whales are able to eat well over 2,000 pounds of food every day. So it's just amazing how much they can eat. And throughout the summer, they're going to feed non-stop, and they'll put on a really big blubber layer, a layer of fat. And that fat is the energy that they need so that they can, next winter, swim all the way down to Mexico to go and breed and give birth again, all that kind of good stuff. So those would be the most common whales that we would see this time of year, and that's what we have seen the most of the last few days. Last weekend, actually last Saturday, there was a pod of killer whales, or orcas, that actually swam through the Depot Bay area and actually came down here to Cape Foulweather as well, and was spotted by a lot of people. So there's a lot that we could see. So we're just going to kind of keep our eyes open, cross our fingers, and hopefully we'll see some whales here within the next hour and a little bit. So thanks again for joining us, everybody. I appreciate you coming here and joining us on the Oregon coast virtually. I'll give you a high five over the air here. So thank you so much, and let us know if you've got any questions, and we'll try to get them answered here for you. Stay tuned. We'll keep looking here for the whales. All right, here, whale watchers. My name's Luke, park ranger here with Oregon State Parks. And so the whale watch tour boat that we've been kind of tracking, hopefully, or hoping that they've had a little better luck than we've had so far. They're moving pretty slow. They're definitely searching for whales also, but they are being very tricky so far this morning. Hey, Matt, I see your question. How long does whale watch season last? And so the Oregon coast is kind of a special place for whale watchers. In the spring like this, we're watching, 20,000 gray whales swim by. And this migration actually lasts through the months of March, April, May, and even into June. May and June is when we typically see the mothers and the new baby calves, the little baby whales. They actually stayed down in the warm waters of Baja a little bit longer than these whales that we're seeing today. That little baby, when it's first born, it doesn't have any blubber yet on its body, very little body fat. And so before it can come up north into these colder waters, it has to continue drinking milk and gaining weight so that it can put on an insulation layer. Our water up here on the Oregon coast is only around 50, 54 degrees maybe. And even worse, up in Alaska, the water is like 34 degrees, super cold. So it's usually those mothers and calves, like I said, we see in May and June. And then the Oregon coast throughout the summertime, I'm talking about June, July, August, September, and even into October sometimes, we have a group of gray whales called the Pacific Coast Feeding Group, or the PCFGs. And some folks refer to them as kind of the resident whales of the Oregon coast. Those are a group of around 200 to 300 gray whales that instead of swimming all the way back to Alaska, they'll actually just pull over here along the Oregon coast and feed in our waters. And so here at Cape Foulweather is actually an excellent place to come in the summertime. And I'm going to show you why here. So just below us here, we're in a building about 500 feet up in the air. And just below us, let me zoom in down here. So just below us in the water is a kelp forest. This is all bull kelp, and it's attached to the sea floor. Now down at the bottom of these plants' roots is a little tiny shrimp. It's called a mysid shrimp. And in the summertime, these little critters reproduce by the billions. And so these 200 to 300 gray whales will kind of search out all of these kelp forests all along the Oregon coast. And this kind of goes up into Washington as well, and part of Northern California. The gray whales, some of them have kind of realized, hey, I don't have to swim all the way to Alaska. I'm just going to hang out here on the Oregon coast. And so these whales kind of move around on a daily and weekly basis, and they're able to find enough food here to help them survive. So the Whale Watch Week is usually a special time. That's when we typically have our volunteers come out and look for these migrating gray whales. It's typically spring break for all the school kids here on the Oregon coast as well. And so it's a great opportunity for people to come out and enjoy the beautiful weather like we have today and see these whales. But if you are a whale watcher and you want to come out later in the summer, I highly recommend that. Below us, often feeding just a few hundred feet from shore. So I hope that answers your questions there a little bit, Matt, and thank you for those questions and comments. If you're just joining us, we're still on the watch for our first whale on the camera today. I got up here about 9:15 or so this morning, and I was able to see one gray whale swimming by. So I know that they're out there. We just kind of have to be patient here and hope that another one or two or 10 comes through here in the next little bit. So thanks again for joining us, and stay tuned. Hello again, everybody. This is Luke, Park Ranger here at the Oregon State Parks. So we're going to kind of look up here to the north here for a little bit more. Change the view a little bit. These are some really neat coves that you can't often see. Well, really, you can't see them unless you're able to come inside here. This is a little Oregon State Park Visitor Center and gift shop. And actually, in the summertime, believe it or not, there will be whales feeding right next to all of these rocks. And so there are some really, really cool videos are captured from up here in the summertime of these huge, like 40-foot gray whales, like feeding in and among all of these rocks. And so these are some neat little bays and coves. And again, it's all about that little tiny food, that little tiny mysid shrimp that we get here in the summertime. So some neat little hidden parts of the Oregon coast that these whales, they've known about them for a long time. Well, I guess they're not so hidden. There's some fishermen right there, but it's a really beautiful viewpoint up here, and hopefully you'll be able to come and check this out here in the future too. So if you're just joining us, again, my name's Luke. I'm a park ranger with Oregon State Parks, and we're doing a little camera test up here from a new streaming location. Most of the Whale Watch Week, which officially starts tomorrow, we will be streaming from the Depot Bay Whale Watching Center. That's located in the town of Depot Bay. It's currently closed right now, as well as all other visitor centers in the Oregon State Park system, just to kind of help slow or limit the spread of this COVID virus as it's going around. Our visitor center there in Depot Bay, typically this time of year, around 2,000 people per day would be coming through and hoping to see some whales. And so with the group size limitations and the social distancing recommendations that we are all under, that would be it would be impossible. And so visitor centers such as that have been closed for the last week or so, and we're hoping that through the live streaming a lot of people are still able to join us and hopefully see some whales here over the coming week. I was looking at the weather this morning, and today and tomorrow and even Sunday morning look pretty decent. We're supposed to have good ocean conditions and some nice sunny skies. Early next week, I think we're going to start to see some rain here along the Oregon coast. And so the rain and the wind and the storms, that's going to put a damper on our whale watching. But we'll still be giving it a shot every day. So stay tuned. Hopefully we'll pick up a few whales here within the next 50 minutes or so. And then let us know if you've got any questions or comments. As always, we love to see where everybody's joining us from. We have had quite a few places already today. I think New Mexico was the furthest one I saw away. So if you live further than New Mexico, let us know. It's always neat to see where people are joining us from. If you got any more questions about whale watching in Oregon, be sure to visit our website, whalespoken.org, and you can get all of the updates about your local Oregon State Parks at the main Oregon State Park website. And again, that's oregonstateparks.org. Stay tuned. Happy whale watching. Alright, whale watchers, this is Luke, Park Ranger here with Oregon State Parks, and I just spotted a whale. The only problem is it's like 5.5 miles away, and so just behind this white boat on your screen is where I would be watching. That's a commercial fishing boat out there, and just behind it I saw a couple nice spouts with my binoculars. So we'll try to see if this one comes up again. It might just be so far away it's kind of a waste of time, but we will hope that we get another look at this one. Again, this is about, oh my goodness, at least 5 miles away. Typically this time of year these whales are traveling a little bit closer to shore, so we're still watching for those ones. Definitely, those are way easier to see. But this was definitely a gray whale heading north, kind of typical with what we would expect to see this time of year. So stay tuned, hopefully we get another view of it. Hello again there, whale watchers. This is Luke with Oregon State Parks, and it's about 11:25 a.m. out here on the Central Oregon coast. So I've kind of found where the whales are traveling this morning, and it's unfortunate that it's about 5 miles from shore. And so I just spotted 2 more with my binoculars, but I'm not sure that our camera can see out as far as we need to right now. To where these whales are traveling. So I'm trying to get it adjusted for you here, but what I'd really like is for a couple of these gray whales to come in like a half mile away or a mile away even. It'd be way easier to see. And so I can tell you that the whales are out there. They're just quite a ways from shore right now, so I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but we'll have to see if that's kind of a long-term trend or if it's just today. Maybe they know I'm watching with the camera right now. It's hard to say. So stay tuned. I have seen at least 3 gray whales here in the last 5 to 10 minutes. But again, they're just about 5 miles plus away from shore right now. I'm just seeing the spouts. And the last ones I saw, I did see one tail come out of the water, kind of signaling a deep dive. So we'll keep our eyes open here, keep our fingers crossed, and hopefully we'll get a nice one on camera here. We'll be streaming for about another 30 minutes or so. So stay tuned. Happy whale watching. Well, hello again there, whale watchers. This is Luke, Park Ranger with Oregon State Parks. Well, it's been a pretty slow day on the whale front, and we're going to give it about another 15 or 20 minutes or so. These guys fishing down here have been kind of the most entertaining thing we've been able to watch so far. We did spot a few whales. If you're just joining us, at least I did with my binoculars, but these gray whales are traveling several miles from shore today, and I mean like 5, maybe even 6 miles away. So it's really kind of at the outer limits of what our camera can see, even from up here. And so we are kind of crossing our fingers, hoping a whale comes in a little closer here before about noon, when we're going to turn this off for today. But we'll zoom out here to one of these crab boats right now and just kind of hope that we can get lucky and see a whale here pretty soon. So the plan for the next 8 days or so is we will be streaming live every day here on the Oregon State Parks YouTube channel. It will be myself and Ranger Peter and Ranger Hyla and Mariah, who will be coming out to help us throughout next week. We will be most of the time at that Depot Bay Whale Watch Center, kind of our main location. Today is just kind of a little Whale Watch Week preview, and we wanted to test out the streaming from up here and see if it would work. And we've had a little bit of internet connectivity issues, but overall it's been okay. Hopefully in the future I'll be able to get up here in the summertime and we can share with everybody kind of what we see all summer long. It's pretty amazing how close the whales come to this location. It'd be really fun to share that with everybody. So feel free and stay tuned for about the next 15 minutes or so, and hopefully we'll get to see some of these gray whales traveling north along the Oregon coast here. Let us know if you've got any last minute burning questions, or if not, we hope to see you back here tomorrow. Again, we'll be streaming tomorrow from 10 a.m. until approximately 2 p.m. every day for the next week, as we virtually celebrate the Oregon Whale Watch Week this year, as we're all using our good safety measures and kind of hunkering down, staying safe here for the next few weeks. So thanks again for joining. Happy Whale Watch Week, and stay tuned. Alright, whale watchers. Well, it is about 11:57 or so, and we just had the Coast Guard helicopter fly over our heads here, but I'm pretty sure I just saw a whale, so maybe we'll try to sneak this one in here. We'll give it a couple minutes to show itself, but I hope you've enjoyed this little mini stream today. Oh, there goes the Coast Guard. Let's see if I can zoom in on them here real quick. Oh, just barely. They're right kind of out of the view of our camera here. So let me kind of get the camera where I saw this whale. We'll give it a couple minutes to show itself, and then we will be turning the stream off here for the afternoon. So thanks again for joining us, and like I said earlier, we will be back live tomorrow at 10 a.m. Ranger Peter will be joining you up at the Depot Bay Whale Watching Center. So everybody grab a cup of coffee and hang out and join us virtually on the beautiful Central Oregon coast as we look for gray whales and all the other beautiful wildlife that's out here on the coast. So stay tuned. Happy whale watching. Happy kickoff to the Whale Watch Week, and have a great rest of the day. See you tomorrow.